From the days when Top Model was everywhere to how the show treated its minority contestants, this is the real reason why America's Next Top Model was canceled. We're in for a wild ride today. Who here hasn't heard of Tyra Banks? The model, actress, singer, and businesswoman is recognized as a force in Hollywood. Her legacy is one of trailblazing, from being the first female Black American on the cover of GQ and Sports Illustrated to paving the way for other women of color to walk the Victoria's Secret fashion show. Tyra was at the height of her career in the early 2000s, booking projects and signing contracts left and right. Through it all, she realized that there's a lot more money in the modeling industry than people realize. So who better to cash in than Tyra herself, right? In 2003, Tyra announced a project like none other, America's Next Top Model. The premise of the show is pretty straightforward. Aspiring models get a chance to compete for prizes that range from makeup deals, cover shoots, and modeling contracts. More importantly, the show guaranteed exposure for the beautiful men and women. Unsurprisingly, hundreds of hopefuls signed up to be featured in the first season. Speaking of which, if we're talking about what led to the show's downfall, we have to recap what went on in the first season. Like any reality series, the settings have changed over the years on Top Model. There have been all-star seasons, some mixed seasons, British spin-offs, and so on. The format, however, has largely remained the same. Contestants take part in a photo shoot and are judged based on their photos and overall attitude at the shoot later that week. Every week, one person goes back to the model's guest house, packing their bags and going home. It's a pretty standard reality series format, right? For the first season, Tyra kept everything super professional. The show didn't feature any gimmicks, no alternating storylines, no drama, nothing. It was all about their performance at the photo shoot and their skills as top models. In hindsight, Tyra was doing everything right as far as the whole purpose of her show was concerned, but who'd ever watch a reality series that's straightforward and uncomplicated? The first season, or cycle as they like to call it, wasn't the worst one. It was, however, relatively boring. Tyra and the executives most likely huddled together to strategize how to boost ratings in future seasons. Did the network executives push for catfights and drama, or did Tyra suggest it herself? We may never know. In any event, the second cycle saw a shift in the reality show. Now we were getting inside details into the models' lives and their interpersonal relationships, and every cycle had a villain. At the height of its popularity, America's Next Top Model was raking in 5 million viewers per episode. The show ran from 2003 until 2015 on the CW and was the network's highest-rated reality series. The show would later move on to VH1 from 2016 until it was finally canceled in 2018. From 2007 until 2010, the show was the most successful reality series on the CW network. Even later on, it wasn't like Top Model wasn't doing well for itself, but it was obvious that something had changed. Maybe people just were not interested in watching aspiring models compete anymore? Did people not care about the modeling industry as a whole? We all know that's not true. The modeling industry is one of the most lucrative industries in the world. There'll never be a time when it's irrelevant, and a reality series based on modeling is guaranteed some degree of success. All that being said, Top Model was losing viewers by the thousands every cycle. So, what went wrong? Arguably, it was because of their antics that the show became more popular. No reality show is fully free of controversy, and Top Model wasn't any different. There were several instances of blackface, a challenge where the models mimicked the homeless, transphobic comments being made, and many other controversial moments. But that's something we get to see in just about every reality series. They might split the audience, and some people might swear off watching the show ever again, but controversies are rarely, if ever, a death sentence for a show. It does, however, set the wheels in motion for the executives to work toward making the show popular again. In later cycles, it became less about modeling and more about disparaging and sometimes disgusting antics to rake in views. people started noticing that the show was an ode to Tyra Banks. She would often dedicate whole episodes to her projects. For example, she once made the contestants take part in a music video for her song. She also made them participate in a rap challenge after releasing a song of her own ahead of the season. The list of weird things Tyra made the contestants do goes on and on. It's important to remember that the show did see a resurgence in 2020 when people started posting clips of the show on TikTok. However, they didn't appreciate Top Model. If anything, they were making fun of how disconnected the show was from modeling. Would you consider walking a runway off the side of a building as modeling? What about a rap challenge? Or having models pose as being dead? One clip that particularly made the rounds was Winnie Harlow's admission of what went on behind the scenes. You'd think that Winnie's career as a successful model, who was also featured on Top Model, would be a testament to what the show could do for aspiring models. You'd be wrong. Winnie claimed that she only became successful after the show wrapped up. She believed that Top Model did nothing for her career or anyone's career for that matter. She's not the only successful model to come out of the show, and everyone else has echoed her statements. A few models believe that being a part of Top Model would hurt their careers. They claimed that Tyra's absurd antics, which bordered on narcissism, killed their careers before they even started. Modeling agencies didn't see them as working professionals anymore. Several former contestants have come out and spoken negatively about their time on the show. They've labeled Tyra a tyrant who only ever wanted to get her name out there. It was a weird state of affairs for the contestants on the show, who had to essentially hype the only person on Top Model who was already a top model. Did you know that some of the scenes where Tyra appears and greets the contestants had to be reshot? The creator of Top Model allegedly always wanted over-the-top reactions for herself. So, whenever the models would just sit there and clap, she'd redo the whole shot. A few contestants have claimed that the showrunners would beg them to yell and jump up when they saw Tyra. At the end of the day, everyone just wanted to go home. Even the contestants who hadn't been eliminated yet. There was probably a time when Top Model's baiting antics were making money for the network. Eventually, though, people stopped watching the show because it became more about seeing the clear favorite of the season overcome a group of mean girls. The show also made it a point to accept minority contestants. This was done to show just how progressive Top Model was. Isis King, for example, was the first trans contestant on the show. Her cycle, however, was more about overcoming the other mean contestants' discouraging comments. Likewise, contestants with special needs were treated poorly by the other contestants for seemingly no reason. Maybe the executives wanted people to tune in just to root for the underdog. If anything, people just grew more and more uneasy with how the Top Model contestants were being treated. So ultimately, they switched the channel and Tyra decided it was no longer profitable to produce Top Model. So, from how the show treated its minority contestants to the days when Top Model was everywhere, this was the real reason why America's Next Top Model was canceled.